The Ben Heck Show is brought to you by Element 14, the electronic design community where you can connect and collaborate with top engineers from around the world. Join now at element14.com. Hello and welcome back to the Ben Heck Show. Karen, didn't you say we had a good project idea from one of those top 5 monthly episode ideas?
Yes, back in October, Christopher Cope asked us to make a medication reminder.
Interesting. So people don't forget to take their pills if they're on a bunch of medications?
Or like busy parents that may not know if that parent or this parent remembered to give their kids their medication.
Okay.
Could be really useful.
Yeah, well, let's sketch up an idea. So we could have a pill box like this, and obviously you usually have like 7 days a week, AM, PM. So we could put the pills in and tell if they're there by weight. We could use the load cell that we had left over from the Christmas episode. Remember where I wanted to detect people and cats on the tree?
See if they're stealing presents.
Yeah, cats are always stealing presents. So we could use one of those load cells because they were very sensitive to weigh the pill box continually. So what you would do is you would load it backwards. You'd go Saturday night, Saturday morning, Friday night, Friday morning, all the way back to Sunday morning. And it would log the weight for each day. So if the weight didn't change at the time of day when you're supposed to take your pills, then it knows you haven't taken the pills yet. And then an alarm can sound. We'll also attach a real-time clock so it knows what time of the week it is. And then we can set an AM, PM alarm so it knows when to tell you to take your pills.
That's really neat.
So that's how I think we should do it.
Ooh, and we can use Tic Tacs in the place of pills.
Yeah, they're a lot cheaper. Let's get started.
Amazing hacks.
Where are my dragons?
Inspired designs.
Oh, look, I knocked some hot glue loose.
Regrettable acting.
I want to live in a world with Star Wars again!
Each week, Element 14's The Ben Heck Show brings you innovative projects using electronics, engineering, and more.
Here's the state of our pill minder project. We opted from using the PIC microcontroller to the Atmel microcontroller, and we soldered everything that we would need here on this little dev board. We still have the real-time clock and the load cell amp and the 5-volt regulator. So, put some code on here. I'm going to connect to the FTDI header and plug the load cell amp in. So this little program right here is an example that we got from the load cell amp GitHub project. So I modified this code a little bit so that we can adjust the scale. And I'll upload this and then open the serial monitor to show you what I'm talking about. All right, it's uploaded. Open the serial monitor. So now it's outputting units and it's outputting a value. It's outputting the read, it's outputting the average, and it's outputting the calibration factor. And I can go here on the serial command and send an A to change the scale factor or the calibration factor. It'll change it by 10. I can press Z to change it the other direction by 10. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try and simulate pills with these Tic Tacs. I'll put on one Tic Tac. Doesn't really seem to be registering that. There's also a little bit of hysteresis here, so you're going to miss out on some of the weight that would change. There's 2 Tic Tacs. There's 3 Tic Tacs.
Okay, Felix, what'd you find?
I'm thinking I need to find a calibration factor that is sufficient enough to detect the difference between 3 of these Tic Tacs, which would then represent
one set of pills.
Yeah.
So we might not be able to get 1 pill accuracy out of this weight scale, but we can get 3. I guess that makes sense. Most people that are on medication at that age are going to be popping a lot of pills anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we probably need to do is, if this is 3 pills and this is 0 pills, the hysteresis or the amount of jiggle we'd allow would probably be about
automatically playing.
50%. So once you drop past the 50% threshold, then we consider it to be off, just like voltage levels. Once you go past it, then, I guess we have 6 pills now. Right. So find the average weights and we can figure out what is a good threshold layer. Okay. So here's 3 pills. Something else to think about is if those pills are spread out in that pill box across the weight sensor, you may get a different reading for pills on the end than you do for pills in the middle.
Right.
So once you get the scale factor here, we'll need to put on the pill box and see if we have the same scale factors at the end. So, but for now, see if you can get 3 of them working.
Okay.
Cool. All right, we have a pill averaging program now. It's going to take 100 samples, which should give us more accuracy. So once Felix releases the button, it's going to get the 0 value with no pills on the scale. Right now it's averaging, get ready to drop a pill. Get ready, load pills. That's like a video game for kids. I shake this in the Chuck E. Cheese. Like, what do you think about a redemption pill game. And it looks like there is a perceivable difference, wouldn't you say, Felix?
Yes.
Probably about 0.3. Oh, I gotta load the pill. Ah! There's not enough room almost. Oh, now I have to stack the pills. This is like level 2. Dun, 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 dun. You know what this is like, Felix? It's like Dr. Mario.
There you go.
Where he's like throwing the pills in the jar. That game wasn't very good. I bought a cartridge of it like last MGC, and I'm like, this game isn't very good.
Load pills.
So one more sample, and then we really don't have any more room for pills. Is that your impression of Jaws?
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, look, it keeps going down a little bit. See that? Went from 7.03, 6.94, 6.89. I know this is silly, but make sure you're not breathing anywhere near it, because we know how sensitive this is. So stop breathing.
Okay. Oh.
Hey, that was the same reading 2 cycles in a row. All right, so let's take this into Excel. Insert. Okay, so at a certain point, it started averaging out when we stopped adding pills. So count how many pills we have on the platform.
Looks like 7.
Okay, so 0 pills, 1 pills, 2 pills, 3 pills, 4 pills, 5 pills, 6 pills, 7 pills. And then so these are all 7. Danny Elfman soundtrack. Oh wait, but then halfway through we kind of started banging the table and making a mess, so that data is erroneous. The minimum difference was 0.17187. So I think if you had a hysteresis of at least 0.15, so once you pass the threshold of that, that's how you know there's another pill. I think we should probably run this test again though, using the entire pill box, because when we were talking about weight distribution.
Yeah.
But it's pretty consistent though. See how these numbers are right around 0.3? So that's like the weight of a pill, at least the scale of the weight of a pill. Let's rig up the same test using the pill box.
All right.
Get ready. All right, load pills. Yeah, this could be a great Chuck E. Cheese redemption game. Pill loader.
9,000.
As soon as you see get ready, do it. I just made the hashtags race to make you nervous. Go.
Oh, I made it. This is a tough one.
So what our program could do is it could look at the difference between each pill being loaded, average out the differences, cut them in half, and then use that as a trigger point. This isn't really the best, most efficient way to do this, but we had to have our pill load reminder. All right, let's take these into Excel. All right, so that's the days of the week. Let's see, A33 minus A32. So remember when we were loading pills individually onto the platform, we were getting about 0.15. So this is not as consistent, but I think that's okay because we're gonna have multiple pills. Average is 0.11. Man, one of the times it was really low, see that? Maybe we could add an LED to this as well. Like, so when you're loading the pills, we could have a button like, okay, load pills. It would blink. You put them in, then you push the button. It would blink, push the button. Okay. It's almost like, like a game. It's like telling you which one to load. Yeah, and then it would be like, okay, it would do the same thing except for restore it to EEPROM. What is the difference between each day? Okay, so I think it's going to be more accurate with about 3 pills a day. We're going to repeat the 3 pill a day experiment one more time and then continue on from there. All right, so let's reset, Felix. 3 pills a day. We got the first piece cut on the router. Let me just show you how this is going to go together. There'll be a bottom base, kind of redundant, I guess, with the load cell on it. The load cell will attach to this 3D printed piece, which I'm actually printing a slightly different version of. This will glue into the pill box, keeping it level, and also only have one point of contact with the load sensor. All right. Then this will sit over the pill box like this. So it'll probably look about like that. So then we have the scavenged LCD. That'll go down here. So you'd actually kind of look at this thing like this. And then we'll have 2 buttons here to, go through the menus and, load the pills. I'm gonna put an LED on each day of the week. So when you're loading it, the text would be like, load Saturday PM, put the pills in, push next. Load Saturday AM, put the pills in, push next. That way, it instructs you of how to load the pills so it can kind of build the values in reverse and then count forward in time in order to say, take these pills 6 AM or 9 PM. Take the pills at such and such time. So the lights can also indicate when it's time to take the pills. And we'll also work a piezo buzzer into this someplace. So once it gets up to the pill time, it goes beep, 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 until it detects the fact that you have taken the pills. Yeah. So it's kind of like the Christmas tree cat detector, but in reverse. Well, I'm going to CNC a few more parts, then we'll have the complete case. So we'll get the case put together and then we'll work on the programming. Okay, so the load cell goes into the base here. This is where the circuitry is. We have a secondary layer here, 3 layers total. I need to add the DC input jack at some point. And then this is the top layer where the screen is and all the LEDs. So here's our contrast control for the LCD. That fits there, and this will fold over approximately like this. And I'm 3D printing a few final parts, but basically we'll have a spacer here on the load cell, and then a plastic frame that fits in here. We'll glue it in place, and that'll bolt to the load cell, and that will keep that basically free floating so that you can get the pills out. Pew. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm gonna start bolting together what I can while I wait for the 3D print. It's time for a tech timeout. I thought it might be cool to have an LCD screen on this pill reminder, especially since it's going to have a built-in clock. And I remembered, hey, I pulled an LCD screen off of that electric typewriter back during the salvage wars. And here it is. By looking at the back of it, I could see that it was a standard HD 44780 Hitachi driver, which is good. They're really easy to drive. There's libraries everywhere. But I had to do a little reverse engineering. This wasn't labeled what the pins were. So I actually used my multimeter and I compared these pins here to how they attach to the chip and looked up a data sheet for the chip online. That's how I lined that up. And now what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out this thing on the end here. So the way the screen memory is on this is a little weird. It looks like a single line, but as far as memory is concerned, it's actually 2 lines. The first 8 characters, where I have the binary number going right here, that's line 0. And then the next 7 characters is line 1. So if I just tried to print past the 7 characters, it doesn't automatically roll over into the next line. So I actually have to use this as a separate line. So I draw the first 8, then the next 7. So there's a 7 segment display down here with 3 digits as well as these arrows. And that is accessed by putting the 8th byte in here because the second line only has 7 characters and the 8th one controls this and these little arrows down here. But the thing that's weird about that is 1 byte does not contain nearly enough information to drive all of that. So I'm trying to figure out exactly how it works. I have noticed a few things. As you can see here, I'm running kind of a binary test. It seems like the top 3 bits are some kind of control bits, whereas what these actually appear as is the first 5 bits. So I'm ORing this with a 0 to 31 counter to see how it changes. Yeah, let me try something else here too. So the position of the constant bit changes what's going on. And I'm gonna give this, a few more tries to try to reverse engineer it, because it'd be cool if I could use the arrows or the 3-digit counter. But if I can't, it's not a big deal. I still have, 15 characters I can use? Yeah, I'll work with it a little bit more, but if it doesn't work, I still have plenty of digits to make a little instruction screen and a clock. But yeah, I'm the first person to reuse something from the Salvage Wars episode, so clearly now I am the winner. And now, back to the build. Felix is wiring up some shift registers to make the LEDs light up. In the meantime, I'm getting the programming started for this pill minder. Okay, so it's cycling between what time it is right now and then when the next pill will be. So if it's in the AM, so like right now it's 11:27 AM, and the AM time was 6 AM, that means, okay, well the next time is in the PM. But then it also has to think, okay, if the time of day is in the PM and it's past the PM time, then the next pill time is tomorrow in the AM. So I just have a few case statements that go back and forth between that, which is right here. So if it's AM, if it's not AM, be like, okay, well, is it less than the PM time? If so, say, okay, the next pill is, 6 o'clock or 8 PM or whatever. If we're past that, in which case the person's probably asleep, then say, okay, well, the next pill time is basically in the morning, in the AM. And we do the same thing for the AM. If the time hasn't come yet, then we say, okay, the next pill time is, 6 AM or 7 AM. But if it has, then we're like, okay, well, the next pill time is in the evening, like 7 PM. So I have some variables up here. There are 14 weight variables, so it's 7 days a week and then 2 times per day, so we can have a different measurement for what the pill should weigh as the week goes on. So basically, if the clock reaches the alarm time and the weight hasn't changed, then sound the alarm until the weight changes. And once the weight changes to what the next day should be, then we know the pills have been removed and we set a flag so that particular alarm will not re-trigger. Yes. Okay, so once I have all that in place, then I need to make a menu system that uses the buttons to actually, load and set the time. All right, I have a menu system in this now. So this is gonna be the menu button and this is the change select button. So at any time, we can go into the menu. Okay, we can set what time the AM alarm is. So it's, I don't know, let's say 8 p.m. Okay, so we can set what time the AM alarm is. Let's say it's 8 a.m. What time the PM alarm is. 6. This is where we load the pills. We'll show that later once we actually load the pills. And exit the menu. Okay, so when the hour equals the alarm, either AM or PM, the alarm will sound if the sensor doesn't detect pills missing. So if there's a weight for Monday PM, if the pills still equal that weight, then this knows the pills haven't been removed. So that alarm will sound until the pills are removed. So if you take the pills out ahead of time, it won't sound the alarm. All right, so let me just show you what the alarm sounds like. Tried to make it as annoying as I could. Did I miss it? It sounds like a Commodore 64 loading off of a tape. I tried to have a wide range of frequencies that an old person will hopefully hear. So, they'll be sitting there watching Matlock or CSI and be like, oh, what's that noise? Oh, that's right, it's my pills. I'd better eat them. All right, so we have everything we need except for the load cell programming. I'm going to merge that library, and that should give us the final piece we need to finish this off. Well, Karen, here it is, the PillMinder 2000.
Ooh.
Right, let's load it up. So right now it says it's 10:13 a.m. on a Monday, and the Monday light is on. Monday morning, you sure.
Why are you pushing that button? What does it do?
Oh, I'm trying to go into the menu.
Ooh.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Okay, what do you want to do? AM alarm, PM alarm, load pills? Yes, okay.
All right, I'm gonna choose.
You, Pikachu! So we're gonna do 3 pills.
3?
Yep.
Okay, I need different colors.
Okay,
Whoa,
so load.
wait, why is it saying Saturday? Oh,
that's where you're supposed to load.
All right, Saturday.
Yep, load it.
Oh
no,
Saturday.
that's why I brought the 2
there.
just in case. Okay, so now we push the button.
Weighing.
It's taking many samples so it gets an accurate weight.
Don't blow on it, you might mess it up.
Okay.
Other Saturday. So
Don't
we did the
blow it,
PM
right?
first, now we're saying AM.
Yep.
Like the readout says.
We're going backwards from
Nice.
the end of the week.
Makes sense.
Okay, we'll continue doing this until we get up to Monday AM, which will be present. Okay, now we're ready.
Yeah.
You ready to take some pills? All right, so right now it's 10:16 a.m. So testing this project is kind of tricky because the time of day actually matters. I'm gonna set the alarm to be now.
Okay.
And it's going to be like, oh, the pills that we weighed for Monday morning are still there, and hopefully it'll sound the alarm.
Do we need to, can I close all of the things?
We don't need to do that.
But I want to.
Wait.
Okay.
Oh, there it goes. Okay,
Take your Monday pills.
Oh, we're gonna take my pills.
Can I just use?
Medicare Part D, and they send the hover round to my house at no extra charge.
Okay.
Now we have satisfied the PillMinder by taking our pills. And we can go in and say, okay, when are the PM pills? So we can say what time at night. So old people go to bed at 6, so we better set the time to 5. All right, so this one, when 5 o'clock comes around, this one, if that pill is still there at 5, it'll sound the alarm. So basically it gets a weight per day, and if it sees that weight is still there, then it knows you haven't taken your pills and sounds the alarm.
Neat.
Yeah!
So Ben, are you pleased with your PillMinder? Is it 9,000, 5,000? What
I think
number
it's
did we land on?
2,000.
2,000?
Yeah.
We said 9,000, so it's in the future.
Well, it worked out. There's a few things I would have liked to have done differently, which I always say.
What would you have done differently, Ben?
Well, maybe a louder alarm. I mean, it just has a piezo that we scrapped from something else, and it works, but not to make fun of old people, but they do have a limited range of hearing frequency. I said they have limited range of hearing frequency.
So we need a louder buzzer.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Maybe if there was another way to weigh the pills, or 2 ways to identify if they're optical end weight, and the amount of time it takes to average average the pills to weigh them seems a little slow.
Yeah, I feel like you need more buttons so that you're not just like going through menus, pushing the same button. I would like more buttons with clearer labels.
Maybe another way to do it is load all the pills at once and then just push a button and then it just takes the weight and then it divides it. So it has an empty weight and a completely loaded weight, and then it divides by 14 to figure out what the individual pill weight is.
But what if there are different numbers of pills per day? Like what if you have like 1 on Monday and like 4 on Wednesday?
That's true.
And nothing on Tuesday.
The way we're doing it now would work for that better. So, but then again, you had to go through the reverse loading process.
Compromises.
But we did use the screen that I salvaged from my electric typewriter.
All right.
In Salvage Wars.
Woo!
So how many parts from your radio have we reused so far?
I don't know. Did we reuse the one that you stole?
Not yet. We'll get that into something eventually. That's all the time we have for today.
If you have any questions about our Pillminder 9000, let us know on the Element 14 community on element14.com/TBHS.
Where you can also read about other upcoming episodes, builds, and special events. We'll see you next time. Karen, I heard we have a good build idea.
Reese wants us to make a Jumanji-like board game, but since there's no actual magic, we have to use technology to make it work.
So Karen drew up this. This is the prototype. I 3D printed a new base. So we have our 4 game pieces. We have a series of servos and gears and arms, and we've rigged up this airplane servo controller so you can test it out easily. Heckmungy. The Ben Heck Show is brought to you by Element 14, the electronic design community where you can connect and collaborate with top engineers from around the world. Join now at element14.com.